I'll be going partially in depth on just which settings I use and why, and as well as some bonus features that I have discovered from just playing the game a long time and looking at a million different videos. Alright, so starting off, I'll be going over everything I feel that is important. In gameplay settings under the interface, everything is pretty much normal. I think if you guys like the older tag size that the game used to have, you can obviously adjust this. I have mine just at 100%. I haven't really tweaked mine at all. This can definitely help you just kind of see players on when they're moving. It's actually really important to kind of see the tags, but for me, I just keep it at 100%. As well, make sure you have use enemy team colors on, because if you don't, it just turns every single team color to red, so it's kind of hard to differentiate which teams you're attacking and which teams are attacking you. I actually have done that once on accident, and for probably like a month or so I had all red team colors, and it was actually really awkward because whenever teammates would give me call outs on which teams were attacking or were attacking us, I had no clue what they were talking about. For the most part, what I look for when I'm finding my sensitivity is a comfortable 360. So I usually try to be able to turn 1.5 times, 1.25 times when I swipe my mouse across the entire mouse pad. Just in case I have to do like a quick turnaround, I can easily do that without having to stress my arm too much. My mouse zoom sensitivity multiplier, it varies. Sometimes that's 75%, sometimes it's at 80. My goal with this is just to kind of make sure that when I'm aiming in, my aim down sight is slowed down. So even if I have a faster sensitivity, I can still hit my shots more accurate while aiming down sight. Does it kind of affect me sometimes? Yeah, but if you guys prefer to have 1-to-1 sensitivity between mouse and zoom, just keep this at 100, but just make sure you turn off focal length sensitivity scaling, because that will base it based on your FOV. So I'll now be demonstrating the difference between in-world crosshair on and in-world crosshair off. So right now I currently have it on, and it's very hard to notice. You'll have to pay attention as I'm moving around, but your crosshair kind of just bounces and slightly shakes as you traverse the map. As you see, I'm staring at this white wall, so you can see it a little bit better, but it just very slightly moves as you walk around. And now if we come over here to this window and we mantle up in the window, your crosshair will kind of shake and move with your character, almost kind of like following the gun's motion. So if you are used to this setting, obviously you can just keep it on. And now when we turn in-world crosshair off, we go back into the game. As you can see, my crosshair is truly static. No matter how I move, my crosshair just stays plastered onto my screen. And as you can see, when we go back to the mantleable window, my crosshair still stays plastered onto my screen as I move, allowing me to properly be able to track targets as I'm mantling. And I'll take a look at my static reticle settings. For length, you'll need it at 5 and our offset at 4. If you want to copy my color, you'll want red 33, green 253, blue 120, and opacity 100. Personally, for color, I would recommend choosing whatever is the most comfortable for your eyes. For me, I prefer looking at more of a light blue or like a mixture of blue and green colors. For example, I don't like the red color, so I'll never use a red crosshair. And for your thickness, you're going to need it at 2, your outline opacity at 100, and your outline thickness at 1. And now for my current crosshair, which is my dispersion reticle, you'll need your center dot on in the shape of a dot, your center dot radius at 3, and then your outline opacity at 100 and your outline thickness at 1. And then for my dispersion reticle, you want your length at 3, your thickness at 3, and as well your outline opacity and outline thickness at 1 and 100 respectively. And if you want my personal shotgun crosshair, same settings on dispersion reticle, but you want to change it to circle, and that way you'll get the best looking crosshair for shotguns, and it'll evenly match that spread as well. Okay, next I'll be showing you guys how to get raw input for the finals. What you want to do is open up run, or if you don't have run, you can always type into a search bar, and you'll be typing in %local app data % and hit OK. And then you're going to scroll down until you find discovery. Open that and just follow the folder to saved, config, Windows client, and then go to engine, double click that, and it should open it as a notepad file. And you just want to scroll down to the bottom, and once you got that open, I'll also have this script in the description below. You'll just have to copy and paste it right at the bottom of your engine.ini, which will essentially turn off mouse smoothing, enabling raw mouse input. And once you're done with that, just hit save, and you're free to close out your notepad file. So audio settings will personally be different between everybody. For me, my master volume's at 100%, but that's only because my headphones are usually at 50%, because my headphones are pretty loud in general, and I do have my speakers condensed. But if you obviously like hearing the in-game music, you can always keep it at 30. sound effects volume will always be at 100%. I want to be able to hear every single sound effect in the game. I don't know if footsteps is related to sound effect volume, but I'm just going to keep that 100% no matter what. Commentator volume, keep that 25%, because like I said before, I like to know what's going on in game. The commentators do a great job of keeping up to date on what's going on. I just kind of keep it at 25% so it's not overwhelmingly loud when I'm playing the game. Dialogue volume, I have this at 100%. I don't remember exactly what this one is. I don't know if this one is also the commentators. I actually really don't know what dialogue volume even does, but I'm just keeping it at 100%. I will now actually be sharing an audio secret that I have. So on my headphones, I don't have your standard 7.1 surround sound. I actually use Dolby Atmos. If you guys don't know what Dolby Atmos is, it is pretty much like a simulated surround sound that is done by the company Dolby, who makes surround sound speakers and really premium audio headphones and other audio devices. Dolby Atmos has a free trial, but if you do want Dolby Atmos for your headphones, you will have to pay a one-time fee of $15. But for those of you who will go through with getting Dolby Atmos, I personally only use the game mode with performance mode on. Obviously, you can just test the different intelligent equalizers or even make your own custom presets. I personally have tried to copy some, but I just don't like how drowned out some of the audio sound in different games, so I just feel like performance mode for game just sounds nice in general. I think the surround sound audio that Dolby provides is actually really good. It was actually on par with my surround sound for my SteelSeries headphones, which have also relatively good surround sound. And now finally for video settings. Video settings are actually one of those things I feel like not everybody will have the answer to. It really depends on what type of system you have. If you do not have a powerful CPU, your game will not do that good regardless of what video setting you use in game. Obviously, if you have like a very powerful AMD CPU or the newest Intel CPUs, you'll be just fine. But if you have a very older CPU, I definitely recommend upgrading if the finals is gonna be your main game, because you'll definitely see a performance boost. So for my settings, I usually will have full screen mode on. I only have window mode for purposes of recording. I always keep my resolution at 1920 by 1080. I will also be upgrading to 1440p soon, but always recommend keeping your native resolution on. My frame rate, honestly, I would just recommend just keeping a frame rate around something stable that your computer can run. My computer can usually hit like 100 frames, but sometimes it's lucky and will hit over 140. So I just kind of keep around this range. But for me, I use DLSS DLAA because, as you can read in the description, DLAA has the highest quality but doesn't do any upscaling. And what this means is, instead of doing what DLSS normally does, is kind of use a lower resolution to render your frames, giving you that higher frame rate. It just kind of keeps it at closer to your native. I might be wrong, it just kind of reads like that. And when I've tested it in game, DLAA gives me the least amount of shimmer and jagged lines within the game, which is really important to me. I'd rather have really high quality than jagged lines and slightly more frames. FOV, just like with sensitivity, just test it around. I use 100. I used to use 90. I just kind of switched to 100 because of like peer pressure. But obviously as well, increasing or decreasing your FOV will impact your frames. RTX global illumination, I personally recommend keeping this on static, especially because if you have a gaming monitor. I know I've seen a lot of people say keeping global illumination on is really helpful, but if you just have a really good gaming monitor that has like black light equalization on it that kind of makes rooms brighter in general, you won't really need dynamic light filling in the room. Let's be honest, you can see just fine. And last but not least, my quality settings. I've obviously been kind of tweaking these a lot. I used to follow a lot of tutorials that would advertise getting better frames. I've heard that when you do have higher graphics settings, it will kind of slow down your CPU and allow it to render more frames for your GPU. But for me, I always will keep my render distance at high. I like being able to view everybody on the map from long distances. If you don't care about that too much, you can always just keep it down low, but I like to see everything nice and clear at long ranges, especially enemy characters, because I like to know if someone's trying to run across the map and sneak up on me. Anti-aliasing, this I would probably recommend keeping on medium or high if you're using TAU or TSR. For me, with using DLAA, I don't think having it high or low is going to make much of a difference. And I think having it low has kind of helped out a little bit. So I just keep it on low for now, but this is obviously always changing. Shadows, I keep on medium. For me, shadows in games are very important because sometimes if you happen to see someone's shadow moving before you see them, you can obviously have an advantage over someone that's coming around a corner versus someone that can't see your shadow. Obviously, games like Rainbow Six Siege and Counter-Strike has kind of put that mentality in my mind, so I always make sure my shadows are somewhat visible no matter what game it is. Post-processing, I have that on low. I kind of hate the idea of motion blur and bloom and lens flare effects. I don't like them that much. This isn't a single player game and it kind of is distracting, so I just keep that on low. Texture, I will pretty much always have this on higher medium. I like my game to look visually nice because even my textures are low, it doesn't really help my performance that much sometimes, and my games just look not fun to play. Effects, reflections, and foliage, I just keep on medium. Effects, you really don't notice effects that much. I know that there was a glitch at some point when you had effects on like high, it would like blind you with different lights in game. Reflections and foliage aren't really that important. I just keep foliages on medium so my game doesn't look completely potato when I'm playing it. But effects and reflections will kind of impact your performance, so if you are having performance issues when you're around different parts of the map, definitely turn that to low. Global illumination, resolution, I don't think this setting is that important, and I think it really only affects certain lighting scenarios, so I just keep this on low. Alright guys, well that's it for me in settings. Hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you guys have any questions about any of my settings I have listed in this video, please just comment down below, let me know. And as always guys, till next time, see you in the arena. Peace.
Sit in the back, ayy, bitches all on my lap. They say, Billy damn, so cold, I'm so chilly, yeah, my neck froze. Yeah, I'm gonna kill it, I'm thinking I'm like, oh yeah. You think it's a joke, your girlfriend just text me, she on the way over. Burn that bitch over, fucking the road, but call it a night, wake up and start over. Ayy, shit's so wavy.